Welcome into the Warpath, your weekly official visit for everything Florida State football recruiting. Nick Carlisle here with Matt Lasser, as always, to bring you the latest in all recruiting news. And Matt, it is coming up on an exciting time for you and myself personally. It's getting to official visit season. Next week, I believe it's next weekend, not this weekend, but the next weekend, or when we officially start getting kids back on campus. How excited are you to start putting the puzzle pieces of this class together, hopefully resulting in a decently sized class by the end of the summer?
Yeah, exciting to have something to talk about, really. Just haven't had much going on. But that'll give us something good. We'll be
just
able to
a quarterback
next
commitment.
Week. Yeah, there was a quarterback commitment, but, I think we have a video on that already. I'm sure we'll wrap that up. But for those of you who don't know, we already have a video on that, so we don't need to talk about that a whole lot. But, yeah, it's good I think that's a big domino that fell that's going to kind of help a lot of other kind of dominoes see their way, I guess is the way, but you needed that quarterback to drop before spring.
Yeah, not many people happy with that, Matt.
And they would have been more mad if they didn't get him. So who cares?
Yeah, I know.
It does not matter. You should be happy that we got Logan because it wasn't looking good if they didn't get him. There wasn't much of a backup plan outside of that you would have to wait and see a lot more offers come out. And then this would have been guaranteed to bleed into official visit season, which you did not want. You should be happy they got that done.
No, I always said that, even though I like Logan personally, I think he's a decent enough quarterback prospect. I always knew that if he was going to end up being the quarterback in this class, that it was not going to be overly popular, and it's not his fault whatsoever. Nothing to do with him. It's just we're not even 3 minutes into the show, and we're already beating the horse outside. It's the state of things. It's more of a what's the word I'm looking for?
State of the program.
Well, it's the state of the program, but it's apathy. There you go. It's really just built up apathy to the program and Mike Norvell, and it felt a little bit weird, just in hindsight and retrospect, because I felt like a Jehovah's Witness, like walking up and knocking on doors and trying to deliver the quote unquote good word to nobody, to people who are just not trying to hear it. A lot of doors slamming in faces.
But
hey, you got your quarterback commit.
But from what I heard, I wouldn't be surprised if he rises the ranks here soon. I think that could happen. I think there's a good chance that with his senior film because he's a good athlete, man. And it's kind of, I don't know what happened, but he's a really good athlete, and I think has a good shot to climb the ranks throughout this senior season. So, and I've heard that as well from going on Rivals show and such. So it's I think people might have to bite their tongue in a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months here, but we'll see.
So the Stargazers are going to be happy, is what you're telling me. If you're a Stargazer,
I think so.
You're going to be a little bit more satisfied.
That's all. Yeah. Everybody who's complaining is a Stargazer. That's all. It's what it is. No one else.
No, we can't loop everybody into that, because I think if you've been following and you've been watching the Warpath for the past 5 months now, or even before that, when I was still with the Osceola and we were doing the Warpath and it was a dual show, then. If you have been following since then and you see the catalog of quarterbacks that Florida State has gone through in order to ultimately land up with Flaherty, I think you might be a little salty. I would understand if you're looking at this and saying, why are we celebrating this? We have gone through so many of our quarterback targets to get here. And again, that's nothing against Logan. That's not his fault at all. It's a product of where the state of the program is and how Norvell has been recruiting and how much money is at play. Like there is a lot that goes into it. I completely understand the apathy, and it's not to pump sunshine into things, but I do think that what you're trying to say and what you're kind of leaning on is, hey, at least you have your quarterback now, and you could, for the most part, put this to bed. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to search well into the summer for a quarterback. Obviously, it enters into an entirely different conversation when you get into the fall in terms of, okay, how's the team doing? How are recruits doing? Are we going to be scrambling for the third straight year to fill out a class? If this staff is even going to remain here for another year, that's obviously way down the line. But I think what you're getting at really is, hey, be happy that you have a quarterback in the fold. Whereas I completely understand, hey, if you're disgruntled the fact that we've gone through 6 or 7 quarterback prospects and ultimately landed here, like I understand both sides.
Yeah, but I just think if you were going to be mad at that, you should have been mad at that a couple weeks ago when they lost out on Chet Mons. Be mad at that,
and I
don't
think they
be mad.
were. I think they were.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but be mad at that then. Don't do the low. Don't take it out on the kid now when it's you should be happy that we got a quarterback in the fold. Like the anger's drawn at the wrong place. The kid, they should not be putting it out at Logan Flaherty. It should be on how they couldn't get Champ Mons, and they probably couldn't get Champ Mons because you just don't have that funds right now, and it's pretty obvious, right? Like he went to one visit on Notre Dame and it was final pretty quickly. It happens, and as we go to say, it's just the state of the program, and we warned that had a chance of happening going into the visit. So, look, if you're going to take your anger out, take him out on missing Champ Mons. I understand that because they did go hard after him. But you got Logan. If you didn't get Logan, you're looking at a much, much worse track right now. And I think Logan is actually a pretty good fit for this offense. So it just again, there's a bunch of factors that we still have to see down the road with the staff and all that kind of stuff. I do think Logan's rank is going to rise over the next couple of months from things I've heard. So I just sit tight, wait and see, and be happy that we have the quarterback in the fold.
Yeah, they definitely don't take it out on the kid. It's tough because I do think that sometimes, especially now with how things have transpired over the last 6 or 7 months, sometimes you're kind of looking for something to throw tomatoes at. And I understand why this may be one of them. I mean, quarterback recruiting, we could have an entire show about the chronicles of quarterback recruiting under Mike Norvell and his staff. But having a kid that, first of all, loves Florida State, I think is it's not unique. In the sense that there's been a couple of quarterbacks that have come through recently that have had an affinity for Florida State, but that's always nice. And we talked about that in the video the other day, where it's like you have there's at least some good feelings there. Now, does that matter in terms of product of the football field and whether he's ever going to play it down at Florida State? Well, he still has to sign, and he still has to progress, and he still has to get to the field. But I guess maybe the messaging, especially from you, is take the wins where you get them in a flurry of losses. And boy, there were a couple of other losses that immediately followed that as Florida State lost a couple of top targets to Clemson.
But no unexpected losses, right? Jamarian Simmons to Clemson has felt – I'm not going to say it's felt done because it hasn't been done, but that's been expected for a year? If we're being honest. And same Gary Walker.
But it's been a minute, yeah.
But Gary Walker's always been in Clemson lean from the beginning too. That was always an uphill battle as well. So let's another thing people say he goes to Godby. Clemson did a very good job in that recruitment. I've talked to people around the recruitment. Clemson did a very good job of getting on Jamarian very early and setting the pace in that recruitment very early from the start. We're talking years of building that. So and Florida State just had a new receivers coach come in. So you can't compare it as much Now, not that Tim Harris is a really good recruiter, and he's proven that. And also, wide receiver is not a priority, and he could probably see the field earlier at Clemson from what the room is right now. So Jamarian Simmons, that was always going to happen. We knew that was going to happen for a while now. Florida State was chipping away, yes, earlier in the week, right before he committed to Clemson. He actually had scheduled UF in the official visit weekend that Florida State was supposed to be. I was in the process of trying to figure out if that visit was rescheduled. He committed to Clemson, and we all know how Clemson works. Clemson kids don't really take other visits.
No visit policy, yeah.
So it's, I wouldn't expect that official visit to happen anymore.
Do you? Okay, so this is something that I was thinking about the other day. There's the no visit policy. There was another wide receiver
USC
that was committed to USC and ultimately decommitted because more than likely, and this is where the projections come in, a certain school in South Florida. I'll give you 2 guesses to guess which school that is, and the first one's free.
FIU.
No, it's FIU. They're playing with that pit bull money. The no visit policy. I wonder if it's even worth having a no visit policy anymore, considering how rampant NIL is now. It kind of just feels like doing it just to do it. I understand the principle of it, but with how much money is being thrown around, kids are just going to decommit and not feel any which way about it. It doesn't feel like, it goes into one, commitments don't have as much weight and much, I guess, emotionality.
Yeah,
That's not even the word to it anymore. is it even worth it having a no visit policy? Like, let's say Mike Norvell goes full dictatorship authoritarian and says, okay, no visit policy, guys, we're locking it down. Like, would that actually do anything? I can't imagine. Like,
So
I can't imagine that would even be worth it.
When you bring, first off, if a kid's visited a place already, he's already seen the place and talked to the people, right? I think that's fair to say, to where it wouldn't like. How much more do you really need to see if you've already? But at this point, most kids have been to places multiple times, right? You think of a junior day, a spring visit for spring practice. An official visit is a lot of dinners and meetings. So it's like for actual meat and potatoes of what you need to see, you probably saw it on a junior day, or especially a spring visit, probably more. Considering like practice and stuff, like how you're actually what your day-to-day life's gonna be.
Yeah.
So you can commit somewhere and you can still talk to coaches behind the scenes. That doesn't violate a no visit policy. Your agent can still, mainly that's the more important one. Your agent can still go talk to and negotiate behind the scenes with other teams. And again, you've already visited. You can decommit, take an official visit, and commit to the next place all within a couple days. It doesn't take that long to do. So I'm kind of, I was going to say that I kind of still like the no visit policy, but I just talked myself into your side of it.
Yeah,
so it's, especially when you can still negotiate behind the scenes. I mean, look at Tramell Jones, right? A couple of years ago. Now, I believe he was taking some secret visits to Florida, but think about it like this, right? Like he decommitted, officially visited, and then committed to Florida all in the span of 2 days. A day, 24 hours.
I thought it was longer than that. I thought it was a week, but I've honestly
maybe it was a week. But how often does that happen when you get down the stretch? Decommit.
I mean, if you're decommitting at that stage in the game, you absolutely know where you're going. It was like 3 to 4. It was like 3 weeks until signing day. So I mean, if you're decommitting at that point in the game, you know where.
That's
you're
my point. That's my point to the situation. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you've talked yourself into
I did talk myself out of it. All right, let's go to the main thing of what we wanted to do today. The big idea that I came up with about an hour ago.
Yeah, and so we were reeling to try and find something to talk about today in kind of the lead up to official visit season next weekend. And Matt texted me earlier this morning. He actually woke me up. Jerk. Woke me up with hey, I've got an idea. Let's do a 5-round NFL-style draft with the prospects that we feel are most realistic for Florida State to land during official visit season. Did I pitch that properly?
Yes, and realistic is up to each of our own interpretations, I think.
Okay, because that was going to be my next question. Is this a most wanted list, or is this okay, that is not maybe the guy that people would look at, but that's maybe somebody that I feel like would end up in the class?
Let's keep it realistic. Let's try to keep it realistic. I think we get Nick is worried we won't get the 10 prospects. I think we'll get there. I do really think we'll get there. I think we can. But yeah, I mean, I can upload the little board graphic I made here for you if you want.
Upload the board graphic. And you know what? Let's flip a coin. I'm going to go to.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you have your phone and like have Siri do it, or can you share your screen? We need this to be as transparent as possible.
Here. I can share my screen.
All right. I need to wait and see who's getting the first pick before I can. Save the board.
In good spirit, because you are the main attraction of the show. I will let you call it.
I'll take heads.
You'll take heads?
Yep.
Oh, it's tails again. Right. It's tails again. Yeah.
What the hell was that noise? I haven't heard that one.
This is one of the original sounds that we uploaded for the here we go.
Brother, this guy stinks.
Bask in the glory of a great victory for one Nick Carlisle. We'll take where's the applause? Sorry. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. This is actually a lot of pressure. I don't know.
Here's our board graphic just to show you.
Because actually, you know what? Let's do this too. There's a lot of different ways that I could go here. Oh, I didn't know it was going to loop again. I didn't remember that second loop. Because there is, I imagine, a true number one pick for both you and myself here. And I imagine we probably, let me turn that down a little bit. We probably thought of the same person.
I think so.
But here's the thing, Matt. I don't know if he's the most realistic person on their board right now.
Interesting.
Even after everything. He's probably the highest ranked person that they're still pursuing on the board. But is he the most realistic? We don't stray away from the mock drafts. We're taking Sam Lejeune number one. Number one overall.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go to.
Wait, hold on. There we go. First overall pick, Sam Lejeune, defensive lineman, 4-star defensive lineman out of Poplarville, Mississippi. I will take that and run away with it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
That's what my pick would have been too.
Yeah, I had to imagine so. It's going to be interesting because I do, we've talked about Lejeune plenty over the last over the last 5 months or so. And it's always been Florida State has more than likely been in the lead, if not top two, with maybe a Notre Dame. Notre Dame found their phones eventually in the spring. They were going through a coaching change, I believe. So Florida State's going to have some competition there. I would love to believe in my heart of hearts that he ends up at Florida State, given how much they've led for him and for how long and for how often he's visited here. But would I be surprised if he leans another way when all is said and done, given how things have been trending just with the recruiting momentum that this program has over the last 2 months or so? No. Like if he went to an LSU or a Notre Dame, I would not be surprised. I'd just be like, well, that's kind of the state of things. But would also not be surprised if he's prioritized as probably one of the top few guys on their board, regardless of position, and they heavily prioritize and incentivize him monetarily. So it's either way here, but I still think if there's a guy that's number one overall, he's there for a reason. You take that guy at number one overall. It's the best. It's the best guy. It's the best guy available. Okay, Matt.
Ooh, pick two. Pick two's a little tough.
It is a little tough.
If we're going realistic, because I don't want to go. I can't go with someone early, right? I can't try to pick someone early. Oh, that's a good one there.
You can do whatever you want. You just live and die by your decisions.
But I can't take Chavez Dixon number one. You know what I mean? I feel like that's realistic.
Number one, you would be fired immediately. The owner is ringing up your phone right now. Gene is calling up your phone. Say, hey, you're out. Sorry. We're doing the rest of the draft.
Oh, here we go. All right, guys, cutting in here. Full disclosure, with my first pick, I had taken Jatori Williams. So, obviously, a little bit after we recorded, Jatori Williams committed to Miami, not long after, a couple hours after we recorded. So, I came in here, so this video is better or more up-to-date, or podcast, however you're listening, to change my first pick, just to make sure everything's in order, so you're not watching this and being all mad that, Jatori Williams committed to Miami, and we said there's a good chance he comes to Florida State. So, just clearing it up there. I'm going to pick Damod Malpress instead. Now, the reasoning for that being he's visited a couple times. Now, he's a quieter kid, but I think this is one you could see them go all out for edge rusher when it's all said and done. A kid who's really good, who's local, and you have a chance there. You probably have a chance there just with it being not local, but he's in Jacksonville. So that helps a lot there, and you've done a pretty good job getting him on campus, and the visits have gone well. So I'm going to put him at my first pick. Enjoy the rest of the video. Who do you got for round two? Let's start round two.
Round two. Now, this is also a very interesting pick because I feel like the succession of guys, I could take a very high-ranked guy right now, and you would say, okay, that's a good pick. I understand where your thought process is there. I am going to go with another defensive lineman for my second round pick. I am going to go Jason Lewis with my second round pick.
Ooh, I did not think you were going to go there.
I actually and you know what? In all transparency, you may think that I'm absolutely bat insane.
I think it's early. That's definitely a reach. Definitely a reach.
You think that's a reach? I think that realistically, he's probably one of the defensive linemen that they have the best chance of adding along the interior, along with Sam.
That's
with
true.
How
true.
much he's been on campus and how much positivity has come throughout all of those. That's an easier recruitment for Florida State to win. I do think they see him as a take. It would not surprise me if that's kind of one of the easier ones that you reel in over the course of official visit
it should
season.
be. It should be like almost like when he shows up on campus. Some of these guys you don't push for a commitment, right? You go, oh yeah, go see elsewhere, all that stuff. That's one where you push for a commitment and get him in the boat, I think.
Yeah. Well, and it may be one of those where it just fully comes down to how much Florida State is going to push for him and how much I think that they think he's a take, but do I know that definitively? No. It's one of those guys that it feels comfortably like the type of prospect that Florida State is landing right now. And I
think they can land him, and I think he likes Florida State a lot, right? Like I think that's shown over his interviews.
Sure. But I think because we're also doing most realistic. This is not
that's true.
Okay, I'm going to take the highest guy on the board at every single draft slot. This is most realistic. I think this is the type of prospect that they like.
So that's a good point, saying most realistic, because I'd also put like Carlos May up there as defensive lineman. They're going to be in on who I know they really like. Who's the kid who's committed to SMU? My name is blanking on him, but I know they really like him too. That's the guy who Knighton played with his dad in the NFL.
Oh, Amari Vickerson.
Yeah, I think that's another one.
He hasn't been around in a while.
He hasn't, but I think that's one they're still going to push for, right? And when you're the coach and you've known the kid since he was yay tall, you're going to keep going after him. It's not going to stop, right? But I do like the pick. I think you could have gotten him at 3 or 4.
Probably so. But I didn't know how, and this is the mind games here. I didn't know how sneaky you were going to play this. I didn't know.
Right now it's shaping up to be like you defensive and me offensive. We might have to start switching that up a little bit. But
you can tell which side of the ball I think is going to be very good this year.
Yeah.
So,
that's true. All right.
Yeah, go ahead here.
Right.
I have an idea of who you're going to pick, and I'm going to be surprised if you
divert. It's between one and two people. What position do you think I'm taking?
I think you're taking a receiver.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be correct.
Because you also just said I'm taking all offense.
I did. No, I was between a running back and a receiver.
Your poker face is not very good.
All right.
Oh wait, hold on. I forgot to. Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
I already was off. Cam Wade.
Oh,
you think I would pick Sean Green?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I think Cam Wade's a good one because I think that's one where Florida State's led for this in a while. And when I was, and the story went up late yesterday. When I was like going around getting reactions about kids or from kids who about Logan Flaherty's commitment, and there's some more coming. I have some more that I need to post on the thread with that story, but it's I think he was pretty enthusiastic, and he said that would play a big factor in him, and he said that was something he was waiting for. And Florida State has already been leading in here for some time. They've been one that was on him earlier than really anyone else that's in on him now, or if not, it was pretty close. I think if we're going realistic, especially wide receivers, I think we both know wide receivers right now, you're probably only taking 2, like because of the way your roster is positioned. So you need to push as hard as you can for him and Sean Green, probably. I was trying to play mind games and not say that name, but those are the 2. If I'm taking a receiver, those are the only 2 that you're really looking at right now. Or there's a few others, but realistically, if we're going realistic, there's another name. I can look it up right now because I was talking to him today, and that's another one of the reactions. I was looking up. Arnold Mujurwa is another one. But again, I think the 2 that you're going to push for the most are Sean Green and Cam Wade.
And with that being said,
you're taking.
I'm going to pit opposite to you and pick Sean Green. If you pick Sean Green with your pick, I was going to pick Cam Wade. I will happily take Sean Green as a 4-star wide receiver with my 3rd pick. That's a value. I may have reached with Jason Lewis at 2, but I feel like I got my value with Sean Green at 3. You talked about it a little bit. Sean Green and Florida State had a lot of mutual interest in each other for a while. Florida State has been in the top 2 for at least since the beginning of January. I think even going back to last fall, Sean Green said Florida State was in his top 3 schools. Excuse me. You are fighting Georgia in this one, and I talked about it earlier in the year where it's kind of a weird one because Florida State took a lot of receivers. Georgia also has a good amount of young wide receivers. Who wants him more and who needs him more? That's something
it's who values him the most. That's what it comes down to with him. I think that's a good call. That it's just like now. I feel like again, as we just said, like literally as we just said, Florida State needs to value him high, right? When you're looking at who the wide receivers are, it seems like you're coming into focus with Cam Wynn and Sean Green. If you're Florida State, you should be the one valuing him higher. And I don't think
he has said that Florida State has led multiple times, and he was originally thinking about a commitment in February, back when he visited during January. I don't know if Florida State now. We're all kind of projecting here and making assumptions, but assuming that pick was Florida State, if Florida State wasn't willing to take him at that point, which I imagine they probably weren't, considering that there have been more prospects that they have not taken commitments from that may have been ready to commit. I think that. More again, it comes down to who values him more and at what price point. Florida State has led for this kid for so long. If he ends up being one of the 2 wide receiver prospects in this class, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he's exactly what they're looking for right now, which is another slot body, kind of a shifty player. There's a couple of guys that are on the board that are like that. I'm comfortable taking Sean Green at 3. I think that's a great value pick.
I think that's a good pick. I think you could have switched him and Jason Lewis, and but you end up in the same spot. So
listen, they're all coming to Nick's team. They're all coming to my team. It doesn't matter what order they're coming. They're going to be at OTAs. They're coming. They're going to be in the group. They're going to be on the roster.
So all right. Also, we should say we're not doing guys who are already committed in this. I think that's a good caveat.
Well, I think they would have figured that out by now.
Hey, you got to be as transparent.
Kai Williams isn't the number 1 overall pick. Well, he might be back on the board. I don't know.
Does that mean he's going to LSU? That'll be the next comment of like, you guys didn't pick him. Yeah. That would be the next comment.
I'm gonna have to start.
I probably need to go defense here, right? I have another good offensive pick in my mind that I love, and I'm really afraid that you're going to take him. And I'm trying to figure out when is the right point to take him, because I actually did consider him for that first overall pick, and I was worried you were going to take him when you took Sean Green. So that's what I am worried there, but I feel like a linebacker or a DB is the way to go at this point, right? Like we already have 2 defensive linemen off the board. You could go edge rusher here. Edge rusher would probably be a good one, but that board is so deep that I think I can get good picks in later on down the line still. I'm going to go with Ellis McCaskill.
Okay. All right. You know what? I had thought about him momentarily, but I think the kid gets visit highs. So I don't read too much into what he said on his visit last time too. I don't hold that in such high regard.
I think there's a lot of FSU ties around him that I didn't realize until that visit. I think that visit did do a good deal, and I think he's quieter. Like he's not one that you hit up or you call on the phone a lot, but you just talk to him when he's here in person. He's one of those kids, which again, nothing wrong with. That's just the way some of the kids are. I think Florida State has a chance to get in with this one pretty good, especially close to home. I think it's one where it's kind of gone under the radar, and at one point. Where did he decommit from? Notre Dame? After he decommitted from Notre Dame, LSU is trending there, but now it feels more up in the air from when he was on the visit. So I'll go Ellis McCaskill.
Okay. You know what? That's not I did think about that name. I don't know if I would have taken him because of just kind of how up in the air that recruitment feels right now. But if you feel a little bit more confident about it, more power to you. There's a couple of linebackers on the board. There's Mekhi Allen as well.
But Mekhi Allen doesn't feel realistic to me.
No, it doesn't.
That's my issue. And I think what
I'm just saying there's other guys on the board.
Yeah. That's why because
realistic.
Mekhi Allen, that's what it came down to, is between Mekhi Allen and Ellis McGaskin. And I feel like you're more realistic because Mekhi Allen's recruitment going into his spring visits was still widely open, right?
Mhm.
Ellis McGaskin's at least seemed narrowed down to Florida State and some other schools, but like Mekhi Allen was going on like a full spring, almost countrywide, or at least East Coast wide tour. So it's which is kind of what a lot of kids from Jersey do, right? But it's or that area, Philly, Jersey, when they do get it. You saw with Sesse too. So it's I like my pick with McGaskin.
Oh, where do we go here, ladies and gentlemen? Where do we go here? This I am going to choose to play defense here.
Okay.
By drafting an offensive player. Give me Fennell. Give me Marquise Fennell. And I knew that you were thinking about taking him too, so we're going to play some defense. We're going to get him into the boat here. Oh, yeah. We're going to get him into the boat here.
That's a great pick. It was that's been debating for a while. I've debated him at all three spots so far.
Wait, you thought about taking him number one?
Yes, I did. No, I did. I think he's that good of a prospect, and he's.
But is he the most realistic? Again, we're blurring the lines between.
I think he's very realistic because I think that's the top guy you have to push for. Now, I think they're recruiting him as a running back. That's not super specific, but I say that because, and I pushed back on that before because he's an athlete. But I say that because Cam Martin's recruiting him. But I realistically, with how the running backs have worked so far, again, it goes to the state of the program conversation. We don't need to beat that horse because Cam Martin's done a really good job recruiting a lot of these kids. But Fennell's got to be at the top for you right now.
I'd have to imagine so. I mean, it's a Valdosta kid too. You're fighting Colorado, Stanford, and Georgia Tech for him. That's a very winnable recruitment in my eyes. I mean, obviously, there's a lot to like about Colorado in terms of like the fanfare and the show and everything. I feel like that would be a program that could use him really well in his skill set. There is nobody on the roster, and this is what he has said, and this is what you can see when looking at his tape. There's not many people, if anybody, on the roster that plays football quite the way that this kid does. Yeah, he's a
and the closest has to be Danzy, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
He's just so elusive, and I think this would be a great pickup. I don't think he's a 3-star by any stretch of the imagination. I think he's a 4-star quality prospect. I like him a lot. He's close to home. I don't know where Georgia Tech sits in this though, and that's kind of a little spooky for me as to where they kind of align with things, because that's probably the one program, at least geographically, and it's not always the school that's closest. A little bit spooky with where Georgia Tech sits in the situation. Obviously, geographically close. I don't know how involved they are, but considering that right now some of the other big players in the state like Georgia are not involved, I think this is a very winnable recruitment for Florida State for a prospect that I think is very, very unique and somebody that you would very much so welcome into the class. So that's number 4. That's the 4th round pick. I feel very good about that. Playing a little defense with an offensive player.
That's a really good pick, man. I almost dropped an F-bomb and had to edit it up myself when you picked him. That was I've been watching him this entire one, and I've felt like I've been taking a risk every time I didn't pick him. So are we?
There's a couple ways you can go here.
So have we deemed George Lamons as unrealistic then?
Well, he's committed, but I don't think he shut down any visit. I think he's still taking visits. So if you want to take Lamons, you can, but that would be a what's the guy from Fantastic Four?
The Thing?
No. The guy that he's reaching. He's a stretch. He stretches. That would be a stretch.
Oh, yeah. We can just say Elastigirl from Incredibles instead.
You know what? That's what I was going to say, but I felt like,
that's what comes to mind more.
Yeah.
That's what comes to mind more. Let's see. All right. Before I make this next pick, I'm going to look at another team's recruits. All right. This is one that I think one of us could have taken earlier. Okay. I'm going to go defense. Tayshaun Poole. I think I can understand if you're going to come and say that one might not be realistic, but I believe Clemson was the other school in it for him. Am I wrong about that?
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think that pick becomes very realistic if Mekhi Williams decommits at any point. Like, let's say a team is able to sway Mekhi Williams away from Florida State because Mekhi is going to take official visits to other programs. If they are able to sway Mekhi away from Florida State, I think Tayshaun Poole becomes a realistic option. But the fact that there are multiple defensive backs on the board already, I don't know that I would have picked him, considering that in true Florida State fashion, they have a couple of defensive backs on the board already. But I do think I don't want to disparage your pick. I do think that there is some insight into that.
Oh, sorry. It was Tennessee, not Clemson. So I was looking at the wrong recruiting board.
What shade of burnt orange do you want?
Yeah. Because I was like, Clemson already has a bunch of safeties. Maybe that used to be. But Tennessee 2027 recruiting class, how many safeties do they have? That also helps on how realistic it is. But I think, so they already have a couple. They already have one in Jaden Butler, but he's nowhere he's not on the same level as Tayshaun Poole is. So I do still think it's realistic. And again, yeah, if Mekhi Williams decommits, you have that new top guy. But the fact that you were top 2 and you're competing with Tennessee, I think you got a good shot there. I think it makes a lot of sense. And, you could drop guys from the class if that's the way you need to make room for them. If there's DBs for a guy that talented, a guy who's that highly ranked, that's you could do that for. But I think the fact that they were top 2 coming out of spring, that makes it realistic.
Okay. You know what? After being talked into it, I think that's not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick. I think that Evan Cooper does a really good job with the safeties in terms of his recruiting. He's probably one of the better recruiters on the staff right now. Definitely, I think you drafted him in the right place. I wouldn't have taken him any higher. Now we have a conundrum. This is the final round, ladies and gentlemen.
So let's see. We've evened out the offense and defense, though, so that's worked out.
Yeah, I think I've taken 2 offense back to back.
By the way, the fact that we're easily going to get to 10. Just by the way, I wanted to say that because you were worried. We're easily getting to 10.
Yes, I was a little bit worried about that. But now there's somebody left on this board that is a big name player.
Okay.
Big name player, has been recruited by Florida State for multiple years now, that I am having an internal debate on whether or not them landing at FSU is actually realistic or not. Because what my
I know who you're thinking of, because I have this. Yeah, I've been debating him with Fennel at a lot of picks as well. I know exactly what you're talking about.
What my heart wants to believe and what my brain and my intel is telling me are clashing. I want to take Chicken here really badly. Yep. I want to take Jabarius Garor. But I don't think I will. I think I'm going to serve that up on a platter for you to take away. If you want to. God, I'm the most helpful GM that has ever been.
It's like the Giants gifting the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Why is the name escaping me right now? I don't know why the name's escaping me. The Ohio State safety.
Oh, Downs, Caleb Downs.
Yeah, Downs. The Giants gifted Downs. To the Cowboys on a silver platter. But so who you grabbing?
I am going to take. See, now I'm talking myself out of it. This was
stick with it.
More difficult than the number 1 overall pick.
Interesting.
I'm going to take DeJon Yarbrough.
Interesting. That's a tackle. Very, very interesting pick.
Offensive tackle. Probably the biggest body that they have on the board. Took that multi-day visit in the middle of the spring. I think realistically speaking, if there's a big tackle body that Florida State has the best chance with right now, it's probably him. And that's not saying much because, as we kind of talked about earlier in the show, there's not a lot of those guys on the board right now. But if Florida State were able to pull in one, I think that's one that's attainable for them. I'm going to go look through, some of his official visits on his profile right now just to kind of –
I got his profile up if you need help. I actually don't really see many listed on the profile currently. I think that's a good pick. I mean, it helps. RPM top 2 is California and Washington.
That's right, because he's a West Coast kid too.
Yes. So that would be my worry with him, because I think getting
Yes.
West Coast kids is hard.
Yes. Well, I mean, West Coast by Arizona. I think he's in Arizona.
Yep. Correct.
So that's not like you're going deep into the suburbs of California and trying to pull a kid from like Mater Dei or something, or State or Bosco or one of those other big time programs out there. I feel a little bit more confident about it. I know that you have Cal and Washington out there. That it's a stretch. This is a reach with the 5th round pick. But I do think that there's a decent enough chance. There's a realistic chance that they end up getting him.
You just wanted to get a tackle body.
Well, also, yeah, I'm picking for
need.
Chicken? I'm picking for need here as well. That's also very true. Picking for need. I do think that it's a stretch, but I do think that's a sound pick, and it's probably out of all the other offensive linemen on the board, maybe like an Abram Heisenhower. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
I don't know where he sits though. It's been a while since he's been back on campus.
That's the issue. Yeah, he was supposed to be back for Legacy Weekend and they didn't make it. So that's an interesting thought. Because I also want to take Chicken now too, but the problem with taking Chicken to me is that the people that are in that recruitment, are going to offer top dollar, right? Like you got Texas A&M in there.
It would be an impressive win to say the least.
I think it would be. No, it really would be. And it's been one that Florida State has done a very good job in recruiting too. Very, very good job. Even with the transition of Nick Williams, and that helped. He could go Fred Ards. This would be a late Fred Ards, but I feel like a lot of the articles, a lot of reports recently haven't had Florida State in them. Is my issue there?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I've never felt good about that recruitment. Never felt good about that recruitment.
But they did a good job of getting back into it, I think, once Nick Williams got on campus. And
how would you define getting back into it? Are we hanging from the cliff, like on the edge of
getting an official visit? Getting an official visit and being on campus twice?
We don't even know if he's going to end up taking that visit, Matt. I mean,
that's the
caveat.
Now, I think
that's the caveat is we don't know how many LVs get canceled all the time.
I would have loved to take Marquise Fennell. I was sitting there. I was waiting for the right time. I already took McGaskin.
Yeah,
I feel like I should go.
Got a toughie here.
I feel like I should go offense again too, though, and I just don't know where to go on offense because I would have to go with another lineman. A lineman probably. I already have a lineman though. I don't.
Now, here, let me propose this to you. Is it somebody that you have to be confident in that they end up on the committed list by the end of the summer, or do you want to extend it to prospects that you feel confident that Florida State could land eventually? Because if you want to stretch at that, I will extend you that courtesy.
I'm gonna stretch at that, and I'm gonna go George Lamons.
Okay. That's kind of what I was nudging you.
Yeah,
judging you to.
Yeah. Sorry. I need to. George. Yeah, I'm gonna go George Lamons just because even if we're going all the way stretched down, that's one where a new staff could come in and value him pretty high and be like, man, we can bring you home. So it's so if we're going even that far out, right? So it's yeah, I'll go with George Lamons there because it also he showed. I know he's committed to Auburn and he committed to Auburn a little while ago, but he said still like when you visit a place twice in the spring and that's what you're looking at visiting a lot. I think it's down the road. You can see him just show up for a game. Like he doesn't come on his official visit that was scheduled, but he shows up for a game and that's an official visit. I could easily see that happening. So now let me finish filling this out here. And then I'll show the full board.
Yeah, go ahead. And in the meantime, I'll rattle off some prospects that, unfortunately for them, were left off the draft boards in the process of this. I am utterly surprised that none of us picked Chicken. I think we both outlined why we would want to pick Chicken, but ultimately didn't. King Thibodeau, that's another one that gets a little bit of buzz.
I would have taken Vickers or Carlos May before Thibodeau.
Okay. Santana Harvey.
That was what I was thinking about with that last pick. When I had edge rusher, I was like, but Chicken with these schools that are in it, I was like, well, Santana Harvey could be realistic there, but obviously we saw where that went. But that was one up for consideration when I was looking at edge rushers.
Chavez Dixon, he's got his commitment date scheduled for right before the Florida State official visit, I think, and I think he's trending in North Carolina right now. So that one.
That's another one though that I could see switching pretty quickly though if Florida State were to give him the green light.
Florida State making a push for Irmo's Ty Phillips, and that's been reported on the site from, I can't remember if that was Chad or if that was Chad. Okay, it was Chad. Alabama leading in that one. Florida State making a push. That kid is wicked fast. I think he ran like a 4.32 or something along those lines. So could have given that one. Other than that, I mean, there's a couple of names where you're like, yeah, maybe that are scheduled for official visits that ultimately have not heard enough about or have not seen enough to get a better pulse on where they kind of stand.
Yeah, that's also what
guys like Frederick Ford.
That's one I was looking at a couple of times, but I was like, I just don't really know. Yeah,
Jackson Hawley, who I think is talented, but I think I'm surprised they haven't listed his edge here. I thought it was more of a tight end.
So here's the board.
Okay,
here's the official board.
Okay, not a bad draft. Matt, in all honesty, I'm interested to see in the comments, who do you think had the better draft, myself or Matt?
Can you put a poll in the comments? Is that a thing? I was going to say we can put a poll on the boards.
I don't know.
So, hey, well, is the flash sale still going on?
The flash sale is still going on. Let me go grab it right now.
There you go. So we're going to put a poll on the boards, probably in this whether it's a different thread from what the show's in or not, whatever. There'll be a poll on the boards of who won this draft, me or Nick. Now to get access to that poll, to be able to vote at who's better at drafting, probably me. To be able to vote at who's better at drafting, you need to join warchant.com right now, and we're having a flash sale for just $1 and then 50% off your first year. Nick, did I do a good job? Is there anything else I need to say? Is the Athletic involved in all this stuff? Or?
I don't know that the Athletic is involved in this one. You pretty much follow the copy on it, but that was good enough for government work, Matt Lassayer. That's not your forte. But I appreciate you taking that off my hands. It is a flash sale right now, extending to the end of the week. So we don't know when exactly this Warpath is going to go live. We're recording this on Thursday morning. This flash sale is to the end of the week. I believe it ends on Sunday or maybe Monday at midnight. So that is your time limit. That is your deadline to get involved with warchant.com and take advantage of all the things that are being offered here. Not only warchant.com, but Warchant TV. So you get your postseason baseball coverage. You get your recruiting updates from Matt and myself, and a bunch of other incredible stuff with incredible staff. Go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say, no, just say it ends Sunday. And that way on Monday, it could be like, look, guys, the offer's extended just for you. Just
well,
for you,
I don't make those decisions, unfortunately. So
I'm just saying how we need to frame that. You need to do a little bit better framing than that. Just say Sunday, and then later on you can be like, "Hey, I said Sunday, but they extended it." Like I don't know, man. They said they needed more people. They want to give you a deal.
More people to vote on the poll on who had a better draft. Yeah. You know what? In all honesty, here, I think we're pretty even here. There's some stretches.
I think we went after different. Like you were clearly more trench driven than me.
Yes, which I do think is a huge Florida State's roster. Sometimes you take a look at it, it looks like a 7v7 team. Just a lot of receivers and tight ends and linebackers and defensive backs. And I think I prioritized what I needed to while also getting a couple of playmakers where in good spots too. I like where I got Green and Fennell, much to your chagrin. But
if Fennell is the difference on who wins this draft, I hope you win. But I just like, that would have been a good addition. But I don't really know who I would have taken him instead. Like I probably would have dropped Lamons, right? That's probably how it would have worked out.
Probably.
I think we got a good board.
Yeah,
I think this was good.
I think you opted to get. I don't want to call it star power, but I think you very much were like, okay, I'm taking best player on the board.
Yeah,
I was very much so. Apart from taking Sam at number one, I think he was going to go number one no matter who went. But then prioritizing need while also prioritizing quality prospects wherever they may land, and they landed right in my lap. Thank you very much, Matt Lassayer. That wraps up the Warpath today. Thank you so much for watching. Leave your comments in the. Excuse me. That wraps up the Warpath today. Leave your comments in the comment section down below. Hey, if you want to partake in the draft along with Matt and myself, leave who you would take with 5 picks in terms of who you think Florida State has the most realistic chance of landing. Interested to see your comments in the comment section about how today's episode went, whether you like this format. Maybe we do this another time, Matt. I thought it was really fun and unique. So great idea.
I think it was fun. I think maybe we do it after official visit season. It won't be as big of a board, but we could do it after official visit season of like who else is left, who else could be the glue of this class, right? So, and also, you said have people draft their own. So actually, if you draft a team out of names that are not on this list, right, that you think is realistic, and we see it and we think it's better, we'll talk about it next week.
Sure, absolutely. That's a great idea, Matt. You've got all the great ideas today. Thank you so much for watching The Warpath. My name is Nick Carlisle. That is Matt Lasser. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned here on Warchant TV for more coverage of all your favorite Florida State athletics, and head over to warchant.com. Take advantage of that flash sale for more updates on recruiting, on postseason baseball, on preseason coverage for Florida State football, all that nitty-gritty. See you over on the site. We'll see you back here on YouTube next week.